Right, guys, I'm just at the storage place here because I haven't started the Roadtrek in like almost a month. Probably a little more than 3 weeks. It was on the back of my mind. I got to come up here and start it because I don't want the van battery to die, and I don't want to deplete the coach battery too much. So we're gonna go and start it. We're gonna check the voltage, see where it's at after about 3.5 weeks. My guess is it's pretty low. We're gonna start it, leave it running for a little bit, and check on some other things. Got into the Roadtrek and actually just turned on the battery disconnect switch, and it's at 12.7. So that's pretty good. I was expecting a lot less than that. So that tells me that there's nothing really draining the coach battery, which is good. So let's see if she turns over now. I mean, it should be fine, right? Yeah, she turned right over. I'm just gonna let it warm up. Maybe I'll leave it running for 10 or 15 minutes. I might take it for a boot around the storage lot here because I just want to get the tires moving a little bit, and when I park it, get it into a different position than when I started. Just in case, it does something to the tires being sitting for so long in one place at a time. Or I might just roll it up and roll it back, something like that. I'm not sure. All right, so on our last trip, we were out in the East Coast in Quebec, far east Quebec, and I'm just gonna move that up. It was really bumpy, and we had these screws fall out here. So one on this cabinet here, and those screws. They're the screws here. So the screws are like here, right? And they don't catch. So if I try to put it back, I can kind of hear where we're supposed to be clamped. I don't know exactly what they put behind here. If it was like some sort of, I can feel like a metal thing moving around. They won't screw back in, so this needs to get fixed. I'm gonna bring this back into the Roadtrek dealer. I mean, I could do it myself, but I don't know. I wouldn't have thought much of it, but if you can see the gap where the microwave is, that gap is significantly more than what it was before. Like, I can kind of see the piece of wood there. So I don't know if this is just gonna come crashing down. It better not. When you're building something that needs to take, like you can see, I can move almost this whole panel, right? Like this whole panel. Well, it's not moving that much, but it's not where it was. That's for sure. It wasn't there. It was more tight against the top. I don't know. See, they seem to be like screwed in on an angle, because there's a gap behind here, and the front is flush, the back is not flush, under somewhat strain, and over bumpy roads they all come out. But there was another one. Oh yeah, it was right here. Sorry, I missed it. So in the little cabinet right up here. Sorry, if you can't see, it's right behind here. This one. That one came out as well. So, and there's not one behind this latch. So I'll get them to check that. The problem with the hot water that we were experiencing was when we turned on the water from the sink. So I opened the propane, turn on the hot water, the hot water thing, and I run the water. Now we were hooked up with, we were on city hookup. I turned on the hot water from the sink and I let it, go, and like a minute later, it's like lukewarm. It's not hot at all. So first thing I did was to check the temperature thing that's underneath, sort of on the bottom cabinet there by the propane heater. In that cabinet there's like a water temperature gauge, so that's on. It was set to like 104, which is fine, pretty high. So then I went outside and I sort of shut it off and back on, and nothing was happening, so we weren't getting any hot water. I checked, the propane was fine. So then what happens, I went into the bathroom and I turned on the hot water in the bathroom, and the hot water came in immediately. So I did some poking around, and I think it's got something to do with pressure. I think maybe the pressure because the kitchen sink run would be longer, obviously. The sink run is longer than the bathroom run. The pressure is probably greater in the bathroom. So then I started looking up some stuff on the internet, and they're saying, yeah, it needs a minimum amount of pressure in order to sense that water's flowing through to start the hot water. So it didn't end up turning out to be too much of a big deal. Well, it's just an inconvenience. So what I did was, for hot water in the kitchen, I would turn on the tap in the bathroom for like 5-10 seconds. Once that got hot, the kitchen was fine. The only problem is when you shut off the kitchen hot and try to turn it back on, sometimes it would come on itself, and like sometimes it would come back and sometimes it wouldn't. So that was a bit of a problem too. In the bathroom, it was fine. The shower was always hot water, which is good because we needed to shower in the last during the last trip. That was the first time I actually used the shower in the bathroom. Used the shower and the toilet. I still haven't gone number 2 in this toilet. It's not something I actually want to do if I can avoid it. But the shower was pretty good. You come out, you feel clean, and it's small in there. It's cramped, but works out okay. Gray tank. So the gray tank, and I've heard this before, is it's supposed to be a certain size gallon tank or liter tank, and it just escapes me right now what it's supposed to be. Is it 20 gallons or something? Anyways, it's nowhere near that. Like, I don't even need to measure it. It's just we were dumping very little into the gray tank. We were being very scarce about the water that we were putting in there, because I knew that it was small. And on my last trip, I noticed that I'd hit the gray tank button and be like, 2/3, what the hell? And on a trip before that, we actually filled it up to the point where water was coming in through the shower floor. And I was like, how's that possible? We didn't use that much in there. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to do a test to see actually how many gallons I can get to go down to the gray tank. Also, I know there's an issue with venting. Like, there's some pressure issue where if the gray tank, in some models or all models, if it hasn't been properly vented, it's not holding what it should. And even though I do hear that the venting fix doesn't give you much more, you need as much as you can, because when you are boondocking, you're going to want to have as much as you possibly can.